Hello, guys. We are starting with the first part that we covered in class for the topic of Africa. So, before we start the topic of Africa, it's very important to understand a connection between human migration and Africa. So, let's first start with the question, where did we come from? Okay, so when we talk about where did we come from, most of us do not know, but we actually come from the very continent of Africa. Our ancestors had migrated through Africa in what is that actually called? It is actually called as the out of Africa theory, where it is believed that people first migrated out from Africa to other places. Can you see in the slide here? Yes. So, do you see the red zone, right? We believe that these people migrated from there. Homo sapiens are the closest humans that we have today, okay? The evolved version. So, we believe that our ancestors, the sapiens, emerged within Africa and then they spread to different continents. It is believed they first went to Asia, many other places as well, okay? And eventually they just spread out. Now, like I said, guys, this is how the evolution of humans have been, and Homo sapiens are the closest that we have to our modern day humans. Okay, so the Homo sapiens first is believed to have emerged within this region and then they migrated. Okay, not just Homo sapiens, but you can see the others too. Okay, now, moving on next, we are going to start with the geography of Africa. So, number one, we've already studied how there is a connection between migration of Africa, with our chapter that is the Out of Africa theory. Now, do we find any Africans, ironically, in Thailand? Yes, we do. We do find Thai tribes which are African in nature. They are called as the Sakai tribe, also called as Manik or Mani. Now, where are they found? They are majorly found in the southern region of Thailand. Okay, this is where they are located. You can see over here some places where they are found are Yala, Trang, Satun. These are the places where they are found. Okay. Now, moving on next, this is just a video of a jungle tribe. I will attach it in the description below, so you can go watch it if you want to. How the Sakai and the Manik tribe live. You can see over here; it's already loaded. It's a beautiful picture of how they live in a nomadic way. Okay, moving on next. So yeah, let's have a little bit of a lighter note, whereby let's ask you, what does the shape of Africa look like? Hmm? Okay, very good. Yes, the shape of Africa is believed to look like a gun, an axe. Okay, for me, it's Scooby Dooby Doo, like I told you in class, or a dog. It could also resemble a rhino, so many different things. Okay, now moving on next, we need to know one very important name that gets associated along with the uh, continent of Africa, and that is the river Nile. Now, most of us do not actually understand this, but there's a difference between the word longest and largest river. Okay, so if I ask you which is the longest river, it has to be Nile, but if I ask you which is the largest river, it has to be Amazon. Is Amazon located in Africa? No, it is located in South America. Now, what is the difference over here? Nile is longer. That means it is longer in length. Whereas uh, Amazon is larger. That means it is larger in width. Okay. And it has a lot of tributaries. So it branches out a lot. Whereas the Nile, if you see, it starts from Lake Victoria and moves up towards Egypt, right? So it doesn't really have a lot of tributaries. So it is more lengthy than it is wider. Okay, so that is the difference between these two. Now let's see an amazing fact that will blow your mind. So yes, Africa doesn't look like Wakanda, even though we would wish it to look like, but it has a very rich history. It was earlier called as Alkebulan. Why Alkebulan? Because like I told you from the story of or the theory of out of Africa theory, it is believed that we humans first originated from there, right? So that is why Alkebulan basically means that we come from the mother of mankind or the Garden of Eden. Now, the mother of mankind means what? The birthplace of humans. So, like I said, it comes from the theory of out of Africa theory. Then the second one is the Garden of Eden. Why Garden of Eden? Because it is believed by many, even Christians, okay, not the modified Christian verses, but the earlier ones, it is believed that we uh, were basically the descendants of Adam and Eve. Now, who is Adam and Eve? So, the story of the Garden of Eden goes like this, that God creates Adam first in this garden called as Eden on earth. And he creates this place which is a very happy place. Okay, everything is wonderful over there, but there is this one apple tree which he forbids people from eating. Okay, and even Adam is forbidden from eating that. Now, what happens is Adam is given some duties. What are the duties? You take care of the earthly things, you need to make sure everything is going smooth on earth. But what happens eventually is that Adam gets lonely. So to create a company for him and a counterpart, what God does it he does is he creates another human from the rib of Adam, which is called as Eve. So Eve is a female counterpart of Adam who is created to give him a company. And then what happens later on, we I told you the story of the Garden of Eden. Eventually, Eve is one day lured by a serpent that is sitting on that apple tree, and is like luring her to eat it. So she eats the apple, but at the same time she passes the apple in a way to Adam as well, that hey Adam, have a bite of it. So Adam bites into it as well. And when God learns about this, he gets furious and mad as to why Adam couldn't just follow one particular rule, that was given to him. So he goes down to earth and he's asking his beloved creature that he had created, hey Adam, why did you eat this apple? And then eventually what does Adam say? Hey, it wasn't me, God, it was Eve who tricked me to eat this. And then what does Eve say? Ah, no, God, it's not me, it's the snake, it's the serpent. So what God realized is that greed, selfishness had entered into this beautiful place of happiness, that is the Garden of Eden. And so he then abandoned, not abandoned, but basically vanished, sorry, both Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, and gave them a curse. What was the curse for Eve? That she shall experience pain when she shall undergo when she'll give childbirth. And then for Adam it would be that he'll have to work a lot. Okay, so that is how also, guys, the current social you know uh, how do I say, genderization comes up, that women should be a housewife in a sense, or should take care during pregnancy, because if they have a lot of pain, right? Because it's a curse given by God to Eve, and then men are expected to work a lot because that's the curse given to Adam by God. So this is just a correlation, may not be exactly how it is, but it's how mythology and religious texts have portrayed it. Okay, now, this is just an image I wanted to show you of how the Garden of Eden was portrayed as in many European uh, texts and books. But if you see, there is another counterpart to this, which is the African version of this, which some believe is the original version, because obviously it was located in Africa. So obviously Adam and Eve were not expected to be white. This is a point of contention, but yeah, either way, the story continues in both. Um, Now, very interestingly, while most of us do associate the term Christianity with mostly Europe, ironically, it was actually an African country that first accepted Christianity, and that was none other than Ethiopia. Now, it is very interesting to understand how Ethiopia actually adopted Christianity. Okay, so for this, we need to first understand where did Christianity come from. So, Christianity's birthplace was in within Jerusalem. Uh, which is in Israel, current day occupied Israel. So over there, right, both Islam and Christianity, both are Abrahamic religions, both come from Abraham. Okay, so Jesus, who we believe is the God for, or the the prophet in a way for the Christians, was actually a Jewish person. Okay, and that is why Jewish people also consider Jerusalem as a very important place, not because of Jesus, but because it was their place of beginning, right? So Jesus was a Jewish person, and then he goes on to spread his teachings around, and then the birth of Christianity takes place, and then there is Islam also that later on comes up. So everything starts within Jerusalem. Now, you obviously know on the map where Israel is. From Israel, we see that This is Israel, imagine, right? So it is connected to the west towards Africa, like Egypt and then Libya and many other places. So Ethiopia naturally too adopted Christianity as a result of this, because it is located very closely to the coast of the Red Sea. Okay, so it could easily adapt Christianity first. Moving on, then we had Christianity then spread to Europe through countries like France, Greeks, okay, who adopted it first, and then it continued to go on. So this is how, guys, Christianity spread later in Europe, but before already in Africa. Now, this is just some pictures I had found about Alke Bulan. Okay, now what is Africa earlier considered to be? It was earlier considered to be a dark continent. Why a dark continent? Because the Europeans had not explored by the 19th century, and there were two major reasons why they couldn't explore Africa. Reason number one was because of diseases like malaria, which were very rampant in the continent of Africa, and number two was tribal encounters, which were very dangerous for the Europeans to make any initiatives to establish contact. So these two were the problems. So post 19th century, how did they overcome this? Number one, they found the cure for malaria, that is quinine, and number two, they had already successfully had contact with the tribes of South America. So they now knew how to talk to the tribal people even in Africa. So they were confident that they could have that contact with the tribal people in Africa too. Okay. Now, something interesting about one of the places in Africa, that is Nigeria's twin town, Igboora. This is a very interesting place. Why? Because this is a place where there is unusual high birth rate of twins. Most people in this village, I think all of them, in fact, oh yeah, sorry, 80% of the twin deliveries in the world take place in Asia and Africa, but the twinning is so high because of the zygotic. So yes, majority of the people in Africa, especially in Igboora, are all born as twins. In fact, this is also called as a twin town of Africa and Nigeria. Let me tell you, as a result of this, something very interesting has also happened. If you talk to Africans in general now, especially Nigerians, you'll notice that the men and the women secretly crave for twin childs, which we may think is a unique phenomena, but it could be somewhat related to the fact that, it's just something that has passed on. But yeah, this is something that I observed. I don't know if it's true or not, or factual or not, but yeah, this is what at least I saw and noticed. Okay, now we're going to move on with the general features of Africa. So, how much area does Africa occupy? It occupies 20% of the Earth's surface. It is the second largest continent on Earth. Okay, and we already talked about its shape. What are the types of things that we can also encounter or know about Africa which are untrue? Okay, I'm saying untrue. Why? Because these are the points written in the textbook, but not all of them are correct, guys. So, for example, Africa, as you can see from the picture, is often just, tied to slavery or poverty or lack of water. But guys, that is not how Africa is. Let me give you a reality check over here. This is how Nairobi and Lagos look like. They look extremely beautiful. Nairobi is the capital of Kenya and Lagos is there of Nigeria. So please remember these things as well. Okay, they have modern clothes, everything is modern. So just do not be influenced by social media posts and think, oh, Africa is backward. No, it's not. Now, let's quickly move on to the physical features of Africa. So, we already know Africa occupies 20% of the Earth's surface. There are three latitudinal lines, guys. What are latitudinal lines? Lazy lines that pass through Africa. Which ones are those? That is the Tropic of Cancer, the Equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn. Because these three lines pass through Africa, it means that Africa experiences a tropical climate. That is a warm climate. It gets direct sunlight. Okay. Now, just a quick recap. Do you remember the word cape and peninsula? Yes, vocabulary. What is a cape? A cape is surrounded by water on two sides, whereas a peninsula is surrounded by water on three sides. And what is an island? Surrounded by water on four sides. So let's start with the first northernmost boundary. So, Tunisia. is the country which is to the extreme north of Africa, and what is the northmost point? It is Cape Angela in Tunisia. Okay, moving on. Next, we have the southern boundary. What is the southmost point of South Africa? Sorry, of Africa. It is Cape Agulhas in South Africa. Okay, and we know the seas which are also there and oceans also there. I'm not diving deep into it because I assume you're good in maps already. Then we have the eastern boundary, guys. What is the eastmost point of Africa? It is Hafun Point, or you could just simply say Cape Guadafai, located in Somalia. Okay. And what ocean, guys, would be to the east? You can already see Indian Ocean. Moving on next, western boundary. What is the westmost point of Africa? It is Cape Verde, located in central Senegal. Okay, and what is the ocean that is located to the west? It is Pacific Ocean. Okay, we stop here and I'll continue with physical features in the second part of the video.